Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Sawtooth Tactical, and today we are talking EDC, specifically summertime EDC. And the reason why is because it is 80 degrees here today. We literally just had snow, and I just got back from mountain biking with my daughter. And so it had me thinking about my summertime carry, because a lot of people will carry different things in summer versus winter. Now, I mostly keep it the same as far as the firearm itself, but that firearm has changed dramatically since last summer. And so we're going to be talking about a bunch of things. We're going to be talking about belts. We're going to be talking about holsters. We're going to be talking about firearms, ammo, but also some of the possibly more important things about carry, because there are a lot of considerations that you need to make if you are going to be a responsible concealed carrier. So if that interests you, make sure you're subscribed and let's begin. This is a gun channel, and so I'm mostly going to be talking about concealed carrying firearms. Now, of course, I do carry a knife. I carry keys and a cell phone and a wallet and all of that stuff as well, and including a watch. But I'm not really going to go over all that stuff because I don't think that you guys probably care about that stuff very much. You guys are watching a firearms channel and you probably want to see stuff about firearms. And so we're going to be talking about concealed carrying a pistol, because concealed carry, I think, is a very, very important part of being a gun owner. I think that carrying every day makes you into a responsible person. I mean, hopefully you are already a responsible person, but you have to be very responsible if you are carrying a firearm on a regular basis. You can't go out looking for trouble. You can't be a hothead. You can't let people offend you and then react to that in a violent or aggressive manner. Because when you're carrying a gun, you have deadly force available to you. And if you use deadly force in a situation where you shouldn't be using deadly force, that can have lifelong consequences, not only for the person that you possibly used deadly force against, but also for yourself. You might end up getting locked up and never really seeing your family again. So you have to be very responsible when it comes to concealed carrying a firearm. Now, when it comes to concealed carry, I think that you should carry every single day, everywhere that you go. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not perfect, and there are times that I don't have my gun on me. But I do try to make an effort to carry it all the time. And so I actually have a couple of different carry setups just so that I'm able to do that. Like I said, I just got back from mountain biking with my daughter. Carrying this gun in an Appendix holster like this with an extra mag and everything is not realistic when I'm out mountain biking. And so that's why I have a couple of different setups here, and hopefully this can help you decide how you want to carry this summer or just for good. Over the last few years of concealed carrying a pistol, I've learned a few things about what kind of pistol to carry. Now, I know a lot of people that carry a full-size gun, and I know a lot of people that carry the most micro, tiniest thing that they possibly can carry. And I've tried both of those. When I first started, I tried carrying a gun that was too big for me to concealed carry comfortably. And so I ended up not carrying it very often. Then I tried to get the smallest thing that I could carry that I thought was effective, which was like a standard configuration SIG P365. Now, of course, there are guns even smaller than this, but as far as a double stack 9mm with decent enough capacity, 10 rounds in that magazine that you see there, I felt like this was a good carry option. But what I found is that I wasn't very confident shooting this gun, and so I don't carry it anymore. And so you have to find that perfect balance of comfortability to where you will actually carry every single day, because if you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to carry it, and then what's the point? But also shootability. You want something that when you carry it, you're going to be confident that if you have to use it, you're going to be able to be effective with it. Quick word from this video's sponsor. I've been using Aura now for a couple of months. I know you guys have seen it in my videos if you've been watching, and it's a product and a service that I really actually believe in at this point. It has totally stopped me from getting spam calls. Now, data brokers are a real thing these days. Scammers, spammers, all this stuff. I've been trying to sell a pickup truck lately, and at first all I was getting was scammers. Well, Aura took care of that, and I'm not hearing from the scammers anymore. Unfortunately, I still haven't sold the truck, but I've got a lot of examples like that. In fact, the place where I work just recently got scammed and we lost out on a whole day's worth of revenue. Well, Aura can stop things like that from happening. They search the entire internet for anywhere where your information is being sold to people, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf, which takes care of your information being out there. It clears you up so that you stop getting spam calls, you stop getting scammers. There are people out there these days whose whole career is just scamming people out of their money by finding their information on the internet. And as sickening and as sad as that is, it's a reality. And for only $12 a month, you can stop them from being able to take advantage of you. If you use my link, which is the first link in the description, aura.com/sawtoothtactical, you get to try it out free for 2 weeks. And then you can decide if it's something that you still want to stick with. But Aura is pretty confident that you'll stick with it, and that's why they give you that 2-week free trial. $12 a month after that is a really good deal for all of the different things that you get with Aura. I've been sticking with it for a few months. I'm really happy with it. I respect my privacy and I respect yours. So what I found worked best for me, and your mileage may vary depending how big you are, a lot of different things, what you like to shoot, how good you are at shooting. All of these different things do matter. And we're going to get into holsters and belts because with the right setup, you could probably carry a bigger gun than you think you can. But after I tried carrying this little tiny P365 for a while, and yes, this was comfortable and it was easy to carry and easy to conceal, I found myself at the range shooting it and not being a very good shot with it. And yes, that is totally on me before you get all in the comments. Practice, yes, I get it. But you know what? I felt a lot more confident with many of my other pistols than I did with that, and that bothered me. And so what I did is I built out that same P365. So this is the same fire control unit out of that original gun. Everything else is different. So I ended up going with the P365 XL grip module from Wilson Combat. And this thing really makes a hell of a difference. Now, I already was using the Wilson Combat regular size P365 grip module, and even that made a difference. It fills your hand out a little more than the standard very thin P365 grip. But of course, part of the draw of the P365 is that it's thin, which makes it comfortable, easy to conceal, easy to carry. The Wilson Combat Grip module is not much thicker, but for some reason, it does feel like it fills your hand out better. The XL, I can actually get my pinky on comfortably without having to use any kind of an extension, and you actually get 12 rounds in a flush fit magazine. That made a big difference as far as shooting it and being able to grip the gun. I feel much, much more confident with this than I did with this little configuration here. Now with that, I also went for the bigger slide. The barrel is actually still the same size because I used the X macro slide with the comp, and so it only has a 3-inch barrel that goes right there. I think it's a 3.1-inch barrel. But with that slide, I also got the ability to mount an optic on it. Now, I shoot optics on most of my pistols, and I feel more confident with an optic. And so adding the optic was a big deal. The longer slide, the comp, the bigger, longer grip, higher capacity, all of these things made me feel much more confident in this pistol. And then being able to add a light was the cream on top. And so now I feel like I have a gun that I'm very confident with. I shoot it much, much better Then I shot this, and you know what? I don't notice it being any different as far as carrying it comfortably, concealing it. I feel like it conceals just as well and it carries just as comfortably as that little P365, the standard micro configuration did. And so that's what we're going to get into in this video as far as holsters, belts, and the fact that you could probably carry something a little bit bigger than you think and still be totally comfortable, but then also have a firearm that you can shoot much better and feel more confident with. And that is the key. So with this slightly bigger, but much more effective pistol configuration, this is still a SIG P365. It's still very thin, still considered, I think, a micro compact in this configuration, but I can fit my full hands on it. My pinky gets on it. I can carry a good, effective, powerful light. The TLR7 sub from Streamlight. It's got an optic. It's got a better capacity. The comp actually does make a difference as far as felt recoil and muzzle rise. And this gun shoots a lot better than this gun. But it's not any different when it comes to carrying it. And so that's part of what I wanted to talk about in this video. Summertime, a lot of people go to smaller guns because you're wearing like shorts and a t-shirt. Well, you don't need to go to something this small is what I've found. This will carry just as comfortably, but it depends on the type of holster, the type of belt you use. So what I really like when it comes to, perfect concealment, making sure that there is no printing, especially if I'm wearing anything kind of tight or maybe just a t-shirt and shorts, well, that is when I Appendix carry. And although this looks like a bigger overall setup than something like this, it conceals better because of where it sits on your body. So Appendix is right in the front. And amazingly, you can carry this and be a pretty skinny guy like I am with a pretty tight shirt on and nobody will see you print. And in fact, that's kind of the big thing about Appendix. I could probably carry even a much bigger pistol than this. But because I feel confident with this one, this is what I carry. And something like this works really well. This holster is from Tier 1 Concealed. It's not a cheap holster, but you kind of get what you pay for when it comes to holsters. This is a very good system here. So for one, it carries an extra magazine. So that ups your ammo capacity from 12 rounds to 24. I think that most situations that you might find yourself in, hopefully 24 rounds of 9mm hollow points will get you out of that situation alive. If not, you're in a very, very bad situation. But this holster has tons of great features. So you see this wing on here and it's adjustable. Your belt comes through here. In fact, I'm going to show you real quick how that works. So your belt comes through these loops here and that wing right there pushes this part of your gun in toward your body, which makes it just conceal better. You've also got one sticking out on this side, so that pushes that part into your body. The holster itself moves to wrap around your body. And then what I choose to do is actually put one of these wedges on the back, which then pushes the bottom out, pushing the top into your body again. And so everything about this holster pushes the major part that prints, being, the grip of your gun, in this way and in this way. And so it just makes it really, really easy to conceal it well. Adding the extra mag kind of balances the whole system out, and it's pretty dang comfortable. So this Tier 1 concealed setup really, really conceals well, and it's pretty comfortable most of the time. But there are times, like I said, I just got back from mountain biking with my daughter. Having this in front of my crotch area, trying to ride trails on a mountain bike, doesn't work so well. And so what do I do in those situations? Well, what I do is I carry with this We the People holster. This is an inside the waistband, just regular strong side holster. And you see that it has adjustable cant there. And that is the key to being able to carry something just a little bit bigger. So I had a similar holster that worked for my regular P365 here. And all I have to do to make this one conceal just as well, and if you see here, the holster is cut for a light. It accommodates, cut for a red dot. It accommodates the light. You order it for exactly the gun, exactly the, everything, the light that you carry. And then you're able to adjust this belt clip. So I can't mine forward pretty far, and that keeps the part that prints from printing. It works really well, and it's actually even more comfortable than the Tier 1 concealed setup. And this, I can do athletic things, I can run around, I can jog, hike, mountain bike, I can do whatever activities I want to do during the summer with this holster on, and it doesn't print, and it's totally comfortable all day long. And that is the key, is all day long, because you don't want to get to the point in the middle of the day where you are so uncomfortable that you end up leaving your pistol in your truck or leaving it at home, because then, the way that Murphy's Law works, if something bad is going to happen, it's going to happen when you don't have it on you. And so the whole point is to have a system that is comfortable so that you always have it on you. Now, the other big part of this system that makes this work is the belt. And something like this is not going to work. This is like a Carhartt belt. This is the regular kind of belt that I would have worn before I started carrying. And it's a perfectly fine belt, but do you see how flexible it is? That doesn't work for holding up a holster. At the same time, I think you can kind of go too stiff as well. Now, this is a Core Essentials belt, and Core Essentials makes my favorite belts. In fact, I'm wearing a Core Essentials belt right now, and the one that I'm wearing, I think, is absolutely perfect. But real quick, I want to show you about the Core Essentials system. You see it doesn't have any holes in it. It's got a ratcheting system. And so it goes through, it looks just like a normal belt buckle, but with the ratcheting system, you can tighten it in 1/4-inch increments, and then it actually goes this way. To loosen it up, all you do is push on this thing, and it'll loosen up. So say you just had a big meal and you feel like you got to loosen your belt a little, you can literally do that right under your shirt and your belt will loosen up. If you feel your holster sagging a little or something, through your shirt, you can literally just push that together a little bit and tighten your belt back up. It's a fantastic system. And why this one looks a little bit tactical, this one that I'm wearing right now, which this is my favorite belt. This is also Core Essentials, same style buckle, but this looks like a regular leather belt. And this is the perfect combination, I think, of stiffness and also flexibility. So this looks just like a totally normal belt. It's stiff enough to carry the holster very comfortably and not have your gun move around, but it's flexible enough to be comfortable all day. And that is very important. Now, the only issue with a belt like this, though, that works great with this setup here. And like I said, just came back from biking with my daughter. But if you're going to be carrying Appendix, the problem with that is this big buckle in the front doesn't work so well with an Appendix holster. It's just too big. Now, a lot of people will take and wear the buckle around the side on their hip, and that can work just fine. I did that for a while, but then you kind of have something over to the side digging into your hip a little bit. So what I got is this. This is a Blue Force Gear belt, and it's very minimalist. It's just got this, plastic freaking piece right here. This goes through, comes around and Velcros, and that is the whole buckle system there. So it's very easy to put it on and put it right to exactly your size. And there's no buckle in the front to interfere with your Appendix holster rig. And so when I'm carrying Appendix, this Blue Force Gear is the belt that I use. Now, there are a lot of good ones on the market. Do your research. I had to go through a lot of belts before I found what worked for Appendix. As far as for regular strong side carry, I honestly think that there is nothing better than Core Essentials. Now, the last thing that we need to talk about when it comes to your whole concealed carry system is the ammunition. So at the range, I generally shoot 124 grain full metal jacket, standard cheap ball ammo. But I do shoot 124 grain, and that is for a reason. 124 grain NATO is, loaded just a little bit hotter than most 115 grain practice ammo. And I do that for one, because it runs really good in my 1911 platforms. But for two, because being that it's just a little bit hotter ammo, it's just a little bit closer to the recoil impulse of my defensive ammo. Now, what is my preferred defensive ammo? It is this Federal HST 124 grain plus P hollow points. These Federal HST are fantastic. They're used by, all kinds of law enforcement agencies. They're great. But there are a lot of other good ones too. So this SIG makes this 365 ammo, which is specifically made for shorter barrels like what you have in the P365. They also make this Elite Defense V Crown. That's great ammo. Spear Gold Dot G2. This is great ammo. There are a lot of really good hollow points. Do your research. Again, my favorite is the Federal HST for a number of reasons. It's well trusted in the community. It has the right amount of penetration and expansion to stop the threat, to not over penetrate. It does what you want your defensive ammo to do. But the other thing is, because I film these YouTube videos, I constantly am chambering around when I carry, because if you're going to carry, make sure you carry with a round in the chamber, and we will talk about that. But then when I come to record a video, I clear all my guns, and so I'm constantly chambering and clearing rounds in my concealed carry gun. Well, what I've found is that these different SIG ammos, the 365 and the Elite Defense, they end up getting set back after a few times of chambering the same round, whereas the Federal HST doesn't. I feel like I can rechamber the same round of Federal HST a lot of times without it setting back at all. And so that's kind of nice for someone like me that has to clear their gun all the time and then rechamber it as soon as they go back outside. So I like that about it, but besides that, it's just an ammo that is very well trusted, and so I highly recommend it. Now, your defensive ammo is going to be a little bit more expensive than your regular range ammo, but you still do want to run at least a few boxes of it through your carry pistol, just because some guns aren't going to cycle hollow points as well. So just make sure that your gun does. Now, any well-trusted carry gun, like a P365 or a Shield Plus or any of these ones that, are well-trusted by a lot of people, they're going to run any ammo just fine. But you still want to make sure that your gun runs your defensive ammo reliably, just so that you can know that it's going to work if you ever need it to, and you know how it's going to feel and everything else. That's very important. I know it's more expensive, but just run a little bit of it through your gun, at least a few magazines. Now, a big thing about your carry gun is that generally, unless you do carry a staccato P or something, generally your carry gun is not going to be your most fun gun to shoot. 100% honest, this gun is a lot more fun to shoot than this gun. But this gun's a lot easier to carry than this gun. And so this is what I carry. And I can shoot it well. But the thing is, you have to put in the practice with your carry gun. So I'd definitely much rather go to the range and shoot this Prodigy all day. It makes me feel like I'm a really good shooter. And it's just comfortable to shoot. It's got a really light recoil impulse. It's fantastic. This, on the other hand, recoils more, and I'm not quite as good with it, although I'm a lot better with it than I was when it was like this. But I still make sure I go out and I practice with this carry gun, because you need to be confident that if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need your carry gun, that it's gonna work, that you're gonna be able to put rounds on target accurately, and that you're gonna feel confident carrying it. If you don't practice with it enough and you don't feel confident with it, how's that going to translate to the way you perform when, if, hopefully never, that situation arises? You need to make sure that it is muscle memory and it is just automatic, that you know that you can perform with your carry gun. And the only way to get to that point is by practicing and training with it regularly. So make sure that you go out and you shoot your carry gun, whatever it is, at least as much as any of your other guns. I know it's not going to be as fun. I know it doesn't feel as good, but it might be the most important gun that you train with, because of all the guns that you may own, the one that you're probably most likely to ever have to use is going to be your carry gun and possibly your home defense gun. But honestly, probably more of a chance that it's going to be your carry gun. So make sure you're good with that thing. Now, when you do carry with around in the chamber. Now, if you're not comfortable doing that, maybe carry for a couple weeks without it until you realize that carrying a gun is not as scary as you think, and that you can trust your gun. But modern handguns, I've been carrying with around in the chamber of this SIG P365 for a few years now, and it's never gone off in my holster. Unless this trigger is depressed, this gun won't shoot. And as long as you have a good holster that covers the trigger guard, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you don't have a round chambered, and you're in a very stressful situation, do you think you're going to have time to pull it and the wherewithal to chamber around, then get your sights on target, and then do what you have to do? Maybe. But I would much rather be prepared to just be able to draw and shoot in that situation. So get comfortable carrying with around in the chamber. I think that that is almost as important as anything else. So to reiterate a little bit about this video, carry a gun that you're comfortable with, that is small enough that you can conceal it well and carry it comfortably, but maybe big enough and able to, run a light and an optic if you so choose. I think a light is very important. Bad things happen in the dark. I think an optic is important because in the heat of the situation, trying to line up your iron sights, it's going to be a lot easier to just put a dot on a target and be target focused. So I think those two things are very important. But make sure that you carry a gun that you can shoot well, that you feel confident with. That's as important as a gun that you can comfortably carry. Although being comfortable with it is just as important too, because if you're not able to carry it comfortably, you might not carry it all the time. And something bad is going to happen that one time you're not carrying it. So find that balance. Besides that, a good holster and a good belt is what is going to make your whole system work and make it comfortable. So, you might have to do what I did. I've got a whole drawer full of holsters, and I've got a bunch of belts. And it took a lot of that to find what works for me, but now I know what does work for me. As far as ammo goes, buy the expensive stuff, put some mags through your gun, make sure it runs well, make sure that you understand how it performs, how it feels. And then just make sure that you are very, very responsible when you are concealed carrying. Don't go out there looking for fights just because you know that you can win. That could be the worst decision you ever make. Using, a defensive firearm should be the absolute last option that you only use if it is a life or death situation for yourself or your family, someone that you love. Other than that, don't go around, don't pull your firearm, don't let people know that you're carrying a firearm, don't ever threaten anybody with it. That thing should only be pulled if you find yourself in a situation that is life or death and you need it to save your life or the life of somebody that you love and care about. Honestly, if you need to save any innocent life, then I think that that's okay. But other than that, nobody should know that you're carrying a gun. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Please share it with anyone that you know that is just getting into concealed carry or just wants to figure out what they want to carry for the summer maybe. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.